Hey there, welcome to release question 33 for the Algebra 2 CST questions. It says what is an equivalent form of 2 over 3 plus I? So what is an equivalent form? What's wrong with this? Why don't they allow this? Well, we've got this simplified radical form idea where we're not supposed to have radicals on the bottom, and really this is a radical in disguise. So this is like the same thing as saying 3 plus the square root of -1. And so to have answers that are simplified that we can compare to one another, that's really the whole point of getting simplified radical form, of getting the radical out of the fraction of this. Before they had calculators, that was more necessary, but we still do that so you can have similar answers to compare to one another. And so this is equivalent to this, but this definitely doesn't look like one of these things. How can I get rid of this I on the bottom? Hopefully you remember something called the complex conjugate. We're going to multiply by the complex conjugate. It's complex because I is a complex number. This together is a complex number. We've got real numbers, we've got complex numbers. I can multiply by the complex conjugate, which is just this thing, but with the opposite sign. So I'm going to multiply this by, I'll use green for that. So this is going to equal, I can do 3 minus I times 3 minus I. That's just 1. Something divided by itself is just 1, so really I'm just multiplying this thing by 1. But by doing this, or by writing it like that, this would be the same thing as 2 times 3 minus I over 3 plus I times 3 minus I. So that's an equivalent way to write that. And now from there, we would need to think about foiling this out. The whole point of doing the complex conjugate thing is that you're going to get rid of the i's on the bottom. You're going to get rid of the square roots of negative numbers on the bottom. This would be 3i for the inside part of FOIL. This would be negative 3i for the outside part of FOIL. So guess what happens with these two things? They cancel each other out. And so that's the first, it's just going to be left with the first and the last part of FOIL. The O and the I part, this is the O part of FOIL. This is the I part of FOIL. They're going to cancel each other out. And so what are we left with here? We've got 2 times 3 minus I. I'm going to leave it like that for now. I may multiply that through in a moment, but for right now I'm going to leave it like that. And I've got 3 times 3, which is 9. And I've got I times negative I, which would be negative I squared. Remember again, this is my first right here. This is my first terms multiplied together. This is my last terms multiplied together right here and right here. But the O and the I part, we did that already. That canceled out. So this is all we're left with, the first and the last parts of FOIL. And from there, from the previous ones we've done, we know that, I'm going to go back briefly to 32. I squared is the square root of -1 squared. The square root square cancel. So we can think of I squared. Whenever we see I squared, we can just replace it with -1 because that's what it equals. So I've got 2 over 3 minus, or times 3 minus I over 9 minus -1. Careful that you put the minus the -1 here, since I squared itself equals -1. We have to replace this with -1. So this becomes 2 times 3 minus I over, this will be a plus 1 now, so 9 plus 1. That's the same thing as 2 over 3 minus I times divided by 10, sorry. And then from there, we can now reduce the 2 and the 10 to a 1 and a 5, giving us our final answer here. 1 times this would still be that, 3 minus I on the top, over just a 5 on the bottom. So 3 minus I over 5 is the same thing, equivalent to 2 over 3 plus I. That, it looks like, is choice B.